Hey friends, welcome back to DIYs with Sonia, where we make all the high-end decor dreams come true without breaking the bank. I'm so excited about today's projects because they are perfect for adding a little winter magic to your home. We're starting with an aged papier-mâché bowl that's giving all the olive atelier vibes, followed by a chic match holder that's both functional and fabulous. And for the grand finale, a designer-inspired lamp that will completely transform any space. These are the kinds of pieces that instantly make your home feel cozy, luxurious, and uniquely yours, all while you're saving a ton of money. So grab your coffee or tea, get cozy, and let's make some DIYs. So I am kicking things off with a project that's going to totally elevate your space, not only for winter, but for the rest of the year. The H paper mache bowl that's not paper mache. I've been obsessed with this look, especially from Olive Atelier, like these two bowls, but let's be honest, spending this amount of money, which is not even that high on a bowl, is just not in the cards for me. So I decided to make my own, and trust me, you can totally do this too. I found this adorable ceramic bowl at a thrift store for just $5. It was in great condition but didn't have the designer feel yet. I gave it a quick clean and then added a layer of Mod Podge. This step will help the plaster adhere better and give it that smooth, seamless texture that you see in the high-end pieces. Next, I mixed up the plaster of Paris with water to create a thick, creamy consistency. I was quite happy when I found this plaster of Paris in the dollar store for $3. I can make this $3 go a very long way. As now, fun fact for you, I've actually used this plaster of Paris for a few daycare craft activities with the kids. It's a great safe material to work with, and they love how it feels when they make their own creations. It's an easy way to add texture and depth to their little project, and it helps them feel like little real art. If you're a daycare provider like me, you could totally use it for making little pots, bowls, or even ornaments. It's so versatile and fun for all ages. So, as I was saying, I created a thick, creamy consistency, and you want it to be thick enough to spread on a bowl, but not so thin that it drips. I started with a thinner layer, just covering the surface. The ratio for this first part of the mixture was 1 to 1, 1 cup of plaster to 1 cup of water. And I did not wait for that to dry. So I started with a thin layer, just covering the surface. And I did this on the outside and on the inside. Then I went in for a second coat, and this time I added some more texture by adding a little bit more plaster of Paris and a little bit less water. And I wanted to leave the little peaks and valleys for all the really rustic organic look. For my second coat, I mixed up 1 cup of plaster of Paris and then half a cup of water. Make the inside a little bit more, not necessarily smoother, but cohesive would be the word, I guess. I don't know if that's the exact word I'm looking for, but I used a foam brush just to blend and smooth everything in a little bit, just on the inside and the top. So I let this fully dry. It took about 6 hours. And now it's time to give this bowl some character. Grab my chalk paint. I am using Annie Sloan Old Ochre. I just love the perfect creamy color of this paint. I painted it all over and let this dry. You can use any cream paint. It does not have to be chalk paint. After the paint dried, I used some dirt. Yes, dirt. I rubbed into the textured areas to give the bowl a more aged, authentic look. If you're not into dirt, you can always use dark wax or even coffee grounds, anything that gives a deep vintage feel. Look at how gorgeous this turned out. It's the perfect statement piece. And for winter, you can fill it with pine cones or fall greenery and for that perfect cozy winter vibe. I added some fall apples and pears to it in my kitchen, and I absolutely love the look. It adds texture and warmth to any table, mantle, or countertop. And the best part, I didn't spend more than $10 on the whole thing, which is a fraction of what this would cost from a designer store. All right, so next up, let's make something that's both functional and stylish, a designer-inspired match holder. This is a super simple project, but it's one of those little details that can completely elevate your space. Over on Amazon, I got the inspiration from these two different jars. One was very similar to mine, and the other one, I just loved the look of it and how they added a little label. So I'm going to try and recreate, kind of mix and match both of these in mine. I love the idea of having something cute yet practical on my countertop, so started with a small glass jar. So I love that the glass jar has the lid, which makes it feel so much more polished. I cleaned it out and gave it a quick once over to make sure it was perfect for the matches, meaning I removed the stickers. First thing I did was add the matches to the jar just to make sure that the size was perfect. I would have much rather had a white or a black tip versus a pink tip, but here is what we have right now. Now for the functional part, you need to be able to strike these matches. So I cut a small piece of the striker strip from the matchbox and removed the cardboard backing, and I glued it to the bottom of the jar's lid. I did trim it to fit the jar's lid. This way you can easily strike a match whenever I need to light a candle or fireplace. Okay, when I need to light a candle without scrambling for a striker. And by removing the cardboard, it made sure that the jar sits um, evenly on the surface. Next, I created a simple label to give the jar the designer touch, just like the one from the inspiration. I went over to my Canva and I created replicated the look of the uh, inspiration piece by adding a shadow box, finding a font that matched the other one, and then adding couple wings to the font, and then printing the whole thing out. I cut it out and I used Mod Podge to attach it to the jar, and then I added Mod Podge over top of it just to make sure for durability. It's such a small detail, but it makes a huge difference in elevating the look. I do believe that adding matches that don't have the pink end, rather white or black, would elevate this look even more. It's both practical and chic, and I also love how personal it feels with the simple label and the vintage touch. This, I believe, is a must-have, especially for your winter decor. I've been wanting a lamp like this for such a long time, but every time I looked at the price, it just wasn't happening. I couldn't find one that was decently priced, so I thought, why not make one myself? I'd love to know what you guys think about this project. So for this last project, if you're following me on my channel, on my home channel, I've talked about getting a new lamp for my hallway table. I found this one for only $6.29, which I thought was a great price. Then I had to go find a lampshade for it, and that was another $5.49. So for under $12, I had a brand new lamp. To me, the color wasn't bad, but it didn't match my style at all, so I knew I would have to customize it. I was going for more of a rustic, all black, brown type of thing vibe. Here is a photo. Here are a few photos that what I had in mind. The shape is quite similar to one I found, but mine was a little bit slimmer and taller. And this last one has the color kind of that I'm going for. So I thought I could make it work with just a little tweak of colors or a little bit of blending. The first thing I did was apply a coat of any Sloan chalk paint. This was mainly to get rid of the smooth, shiny surface and give the lamp some texture. If you do not have chalk paint on hand, you can do this by mixing paint with some cornstarch, and it will give you the texture that you are going for. I just painted one single coat to cover as much of the original color as possible. And then once it dried, it was ready for the fun part. I had several colors ready to go. I used a warm beige, a deep brown, cinnamon brown, and a touch of black to blend everything in, and also a little bit of white. I started with the brown color first and then applied the other brown, then black, and finished with the beige. I really took my time here applying each color and blending it in with paper towel. I find the paper towel gives the best texture and look, better than sponges or those little craft sponges, in my opinion. This step is definitely personal and a bit of a process, but it's totally worth it. I just dabbed, mixed, and blended until I got the exact look I was going for. It was all about creating layers and depth, and you are curating a look that suits your style. For those little crevices that I couldn't get into with the paper towel, I used a small sponge brush. I dabbed it in all the colors and then dabbed it gently into the grooves to make sure I got full coverage. I also decided to paint a little part black, this little part black, because you can kind of see it from a certain angle. And then the little top screwing part of the lamp, I painted black as well. Now, ideally, spray painting this top part would have been perfect, but I didn't have any, so I just worked with what I had. And here it is. It's now sitting proudly on my entryway table. I absolutely love how it turned out. It has that curated high-end look that makes the whole table feel more put together. For under $12, I now have a lamp that fits my style perfectly. What do you guys think? I'm so happy with the result. How gorgeous are these projects? They really prove that you don't have to spend a fortune to make your home feel luxurious and cozy, especially for winter. Whether it's a vintage-inspired bowl, a chic match holder, or a designer lamp, you can create these high-end looks for less. I hope you're feeling inspired to get crafty and make these pieces your own. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video and subscribe if you're new here for more budget-friendly high-end DIY ideas. I would love to have you as a part of this community. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, happy crafting.